Welcome to the digital streets of Metro City, a place where the rules are simple: fight or be fought. Today we're diving into the pixelated world of Final Fight, a game that took the late 80s by storm, proving once and for all that wearing jeans tighter than your average smartphone security is perfectly acceptable when you're bashing heads on the mean streets. This isn't just any old beat 'em up. This is the game that redefined what it meant to throw a punch in pixel form. Final Fight didn't just appear out of the ether. It was the brainchild of Capcom's development team, who, at the time, were looking to build on the success of their earlier title, Street Fighter. Little did they know they were about to spawn a series that would earn a cult following and influence countless other games. So lace up your boots, throw on your best denim, and let's get ready to see why, after decades, Final Fight still throws a punch in the gaming world that can knock out today's glossy high-res brawlers. Our story starts back in the neon glow of the late 1980s. Capcom was riding the wave of arcade success. The team, fresh off the moderate reception of Street Fighter, was looking for their next big hit. Enter Yoshiki Okamoto, a producer with an idea and the will to change the arcade norms. What began as an intended sequel to Street Fighter morphed into something entirely different. A gritty, side-scrolling beat-em-up that would capture the essence of street brawling like no other game before it. This pivot was driven by the market's evolving tastes, which leaned heavily toward action-packed, adrenaline-pumping experiences. Final Fight was not born in a day, though. The development was a crucible of creative ideas clashing and molding. Okamoto, alongside designer Akira Nishitani and Akira Yasuda, envisioned a game that was not just about fighting, but saving the city from the grips of the nefarious Mad Gear Gang. The narrative was simple yet compelling, allowing players to instantly connect with the heroes' motivations, especially when one of those heroes, Mike Hager, was the city's mayor, turning to his fists to do what legal paperwork could not. The technical side was equally challenging. Capcom's developers had to work within the constraints of the hardware of the time, striving to create detailed, vibrant backdrops and fluid character animations that stood out from the competition. This was a time when arcade hardware limitations were a true test of creativity. The team employed a variety of tricks to maximize the visual impact, from multi-layered scrolling backgrounds to large, expressive character sprites. Each punch, kick, and throw was designed to feel impactful, conveying a sense of weight and realism that few games at the time could match. Balancing these elements was no small feat. Each character, from the towering Hager to the nimble Guy, had to feel unique, not just in looks, but in their fighting style and capabilities. The gameplay mechanics were finely tuned to offer a blend of challenge and accessibility, ensuring that players would keep dropping coins to see the story unfold. But unlike many games of its era, Final Fight introduced a gameplay experience that felt almost tangibly gritty. At the core of Final Fight's gameplay were its meticulously crafted mechanics, which emphasized simplicity mixed with depth. Players controlled one of three characters: Mike Hagar, the wrestler turned mayor with a personal vendetta; Cody, the streetwise fighter in white sneakers and blue jeans who fought for love; and Guy, the nimble martial artist quick on his feet and fists. Each character brought a distinct fighting style, influencing both strategy and player choice. Hager was slow but powerful, capable of devastating grappling moves. Cody offered a balanced mix of speed and power, while Guy was all about agility and fast strikes, ideal for crowd control. The gameplay loop was straightforward. Travel from left to right across various urban settings, from the grimy subways to the bustling streets, confronting waves of the Mad Gear Gang. Each level culminated in a boss fight, each boss more menacing than the last, challenging players to adapt their tactics. The game was unforgiving, with enemies capable of quickly depleting a player's health bar, a deliberate design choice to keep the arcade machines busy and profitable. Combat in Final Fight was more than just button mashing, though. It required timing and spatial awareness. Players needed to master the art when to attack, dodge, and use the environment to their advantage, like smashing barrels for power-ups or using pipes as weapons. This added a layer of strategic depth that kept players engaged and challenged. The design of each level also played a crucial role in the gameplay. The settings were not just backdrops but active elements of the gameplay experience. For instance, some areas allowed limited movement in a 3D-like environment, adding complexity to fights as players could move up and down on the screen to dodge attacks or strategically position themselves. So when Final Fight hit the arcades in 1989, it didn't just enter the scene. It smashed through the front door with the force of Mike Hager's piledriver. This game's immediate impact was seismic in the gaming community, and its ripples were felt far and wide, setting benchmarks and inspiring a new wave of beat-em-ups. Upon release, Final Fight was a visual spectacle that dwarfed many of its contemporaries. Its large, detailed sprites and dynamic backdrops showcased what the Capcom development team could squeeze out of the arcade technology. The game became a common sight in arcades, with players lining up to drop coins and take a swing at cleaning up the crime-ridden streets of Metroid City. But this game also left a lasting legacy of how it influenced the design and mechanics of future video games. The distinct playstyles of Hagar, Cody, and Guy became a template for character design in beat-em-ups, showcasing the importance of having diverse character abilities to enhance gameplay variety and replay value. This diversity allowed players to fight a character whose fighting style matched their own, making the gameplay experience more personal and engaging. So with the explosive success of Final Fight in the arcades, Capcom was quick to capitalize on its popularity by expanding the universe through sequels and spin-offs. This strategic move was not just about keeping the franchise relevant, it was about evolving the gameplay and narrative to keep fans engaged and coming back for more. The direct sequels, Final Fight 2 and Final Fight 3, each sought to broaden the world of Metro City and introduce new characters and mechanics, while still maintaining the core beat-em-up formula that fans loved. Final Fight 2 brought in new heroes, Carlos and Maki, expanding the fight against the Mad Gear Gang globally, taking players to different countries and settings. This sequel was exclusive to the Super Nintendo, making this series' transition from arcade to home console exclusivity. Final Fight 3 tried to innovate further by introducing more complex fighting mechanics and the ability to control enemy characters. This iteration also included a deeper narrative and improved AI, which allowed for more dynamic and responsive combat experience. These changes aimed to refresh the franchise but also maintain the essence of what made the original game captivating. Beyond direct sequels, the Final Fight characters also ventured into other Capcom universes, most notably the Street Fighter series. Cody and Guy, for instance, became playable fighters in various Street Fighter games, where their Final Fight origins were incorporated into their fighting styles and backstories. The crossover not only enriched the Street Fighter universe, but also kept the legacy of Final Fight alive in the minds of players. The spin-off, Mighty Final Fight, released for the Nintendo Entertainment System, presented a chibi-style scaled-down version of the game tailored to a platform with more technical limitations. Despite these constraints, it managed to preserve the essence of the original's gameplay while adding unique elements like experience points and character leveling, demonstrating Capcom's ability to adapt and innovate within the franchise. In recent years, Capcom reintroduced Final Fight to new audiences through various means. The game has been included in multiple compilation releases, such as the Capcom Classics Collection and the Capcom Beat 'em Up Bundle, which brought Final Fight and other classic titles to contemporary consoles. These collections have been crucial in keeping the game accessible, allowing new generations of players to experience the raw, unfiltered arcade action that made Final Fight a hit. The advent of digital distribution has been a boon for the Final Fight. The game has seen releases on platforms like Xbox Live Arcade and the PlayStation Network, often enhanced with features like online multiplayer and leaderboards. These modern conveniences have breathed new life into the game, making it more than just a nostalgic rehash. It's a living, competitive platform for both new players and seasoned brawlers.
Oh, Father, I was so scared.
And so, as the last pixelated thug is knocked into the digital sunset, we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Final Fight. From the crunchy punches thrown in the back alleys of Metroid City to the sprawling legacy across consoles and decades, this game has done more than just survive, it's thrived, bashing its way through the evolution of gaming with all the subtlety of Mike Hagar in a china shop. In a world where video games are often judged by their frame rates and resolutions, Final Fight reminds us that at the heart of gaming is the joy of play. It's the thrill of the fight, the camaraderie of side-scrolling with friends, and yes, the bizarre satisfaction of punching pixelated goons into oblivion. So whether you're a seasoned brawler or a curious newbie, remember, in the world of Final Fight, the fight is never really over. It just waits for the next coin drop. So keep your quarters handy and your denim tight. Mike Hagar wouldn't have it any other way. If you enjoyed exploring the history of Final Fight, click this video here to see more from the Retro Reload. And as always, thank you for watching.